the real world versus school is such a crazy thing because I don't know if a lot of you feel like this, but you know, you may think school is the end all be all, and like the roles or position you were in school determines how you'll be in the real world. When that could be further from the truth. Now, it is some truth, but it's not the whole truth, And once you figure that out, it's very good for it's a really a shock to your mental, and it can be good, and it can be negative depending on how you feel about it, and it just allows you to move into what's really happening and determine where you need to go from there. For my example, I was a geeky guy, smart but lazy. By the end of high school, like I was cool with people in a sense, but not like as popular as people would like to be in school, right? Which is such a superficial thing in school. Is like, yeah, it can carry over into your real life, but it doesn't mean the end all be all. I used to think it used to be the end all be all, and for my people in school watching this, you may think that too, but it's really not. What really determines your value in the real world is is the value that you can bring to somebody. Now, you can, again, go to a good school, have good grades and, make connections, right? That's an advantage. But don't think just because you don't have those things that you can't be successful in the real world or change your position that you were in high school. Like I said, I wasn't the most popular person in high school. I was decent, but like I definitely got bullied and whatever like that. It is what it is. But as I got older and just saw things work and everything like that, I'm like, oh, what really matters is being a decent person, being able to make money, and having the ability to network. And those things, and there's some more things alongside that, but it's just like you can do those things I mentioned, and pretty much accomplish the same or not even or the same or even more than people that just rely on school as an end all be all, you know. And in a sense, I'm lucky that like I didn't rely so much on school. Like I did, but then I didn't let it hinder me. Yeah, I'll say that. 'Cause I did rely on school, and of course, school is needed and everything like that. But like if you think like a bad grades in school are going to determine your whole life, that doesn't, you know, that doesn't have to be true. Again, it can be depending on what you're doing with your life. But if you're in a position where it's just like, dang, I messed up bad in my grades, like, cool. Don't let it be the end of the world. You can do a lot more things, man. You can do a lot more things. Like I had, you know, different aspirations in high school. Like I had some, I was like ping ponging around and stuff like that. I wasn't taking anything like super, super serious. I should have, but I didn't. And I ended up in college doing something else. And I ultimately dropped out because I wasn't taking it seriously. And then I got into the real world where it was just like, well, you can't do nothing but work. And I was like, okay, I need to start figuring my life out because stuff is not going my way. And I even consider going back to school, because school isn't a bad option. But in the real world, if you're not handling business, if you're not going to school to get a degree that makes sense, it's not going to matter in the real world because you're not going to be able to get the jobs that pay the most, or you might not get a job that's fulfilling, and you might not make the money you want to make or live the life you want to live, right? So I was like, okay, if I go to school, if I go back to school, I need to make sure it makes sense. And I just kept working and working, and eventually I found something, digital marketing, that made sense to me, and I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. It aligns with where the world is currently. I can provide value, and make the money I want to make or make even more. And fast forward, that was when I was 19, 20. Fast forward 6 years later, it panned out, right? It panned out massively. Like my trajectory in life is insane. I'm in a different position than I was ever in my life, or even where I thought I could be in my life, and going forward. And it's just all because of just working and not letting school deter me from what opportunities there are in the real world and how it really works, right? Again, school is beneficial, but understanding how the world works helps you navigate through life easier. Just makes it easier on your mental, like just understanding that, okay, you know, school is there. School is there, but as long as I provide value, I'm a decent person, I can live the life that, makes sense for me. I don't necessarily have to go back to school. I can learn something outside of school that makes me more money. Or if you need to go to school, it's cool, but just understanding how the real world works, because everything comes back to the real world. School is preparing you for the real world, right? It doesn't do the best job in most cases, but for the United States, I mean, I don't know about everywhere else, but United States is like, you know, yeah, like it's not the best, mostly, but it is there to prepare you for the real world. So learning how the real world works makes it easy to understand what's going on in school, and also makes it so like you're not as hard on yourself, towards it. But it's just perspective again. School is important. So if you're going for something like being a lawyer or something in school, definitely take that junk serious, because in the real world, you have debt, you have bills to pay, and all that. So yeah, if you're going to school for something, take it seriously. But if you're in school just lollygagging, you need to, you know, make it to where you're not lollygagging, and find something outside of school, like a program on a computer, a skill that you can learn, all that good stuff to make yourself a valuable person in the real world. But yeah, hope that all makes sense. Appreciate you guys for watching. If you need help on mental or accountability coaching, first link in the bio, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Peace.